morning. Today we're coming to you from Uganda. This is our first interview in Uganda. Now, Uganda is a country with a very young population. They have very few jobs outside of agriculture. They have widespread unemployment, a great deal of poverty. Yet, among all these obstacles, we find a messenger of hope. My guest today is Prudence, and I'm going to let you pronounce your last name because I won't do you justice.
My name is Uyungrwoth.
There's Prudence. We're going to go by Prudence because I'm sure I'll mess it up if I try to pronounce it. Now, Prudence is a journalist. She's a social worker. She's a teacher. She works with orphans and teen mothers. And this is her message to these children that she works with. You are great and you are capable. Let's meet her. Prudence, share us a little bit about your background. How did you get into this?
Well, yes, like you said, I do work with the orphans. I am a social worker by profession. And thank you so much for having me on the show. It's quite a privilege. Not very many people get this chance. It's really a
Mm-hmm.
privilege to be on the show. Well, starting off, I really started as a volunteer. I've always wanted to serve the communities. I've always wanted to pour out myself into others. So, given an opportunity, usually in my country, out of school, you don't easily get employment. And for me, working, having an orphanage close by, gave me an opportunity to be able to, interact with the children. So I started off really as a volunteer, and sometimes when you do your work good, yeah, you get to get retained. So that's how I ended up working in the orphanage. But moving forward, I found myself drifting because the need to support teenage mothers in my community was really great. There are very many of them, and it has always been a burden in my heart. So lately I've found myself, I wanted to say that I'm drifting away. I still have the heart for the children, but I find there's a great need because most of the children that are actually coming in the orphanage, they're children from teen mothers, or rather teen mothers that have now evolved into mothers. So
Mm-hmm.
it is something that is quite difficult to handle. And I feel that if we can address the root cause, that is empowering the teenage girls, those that are both in school and those that are already, they're out of school but at the risk of, becoming mothers at a tender age, then it would be a best thing to do to empower them. And yeah, I'm doing that through crocheting. It is something that I've started on a small scale, but I look forward to having them, go big. Sure.
Wow. So your program provides free training, as you mentioned. It
Yeah.
does, and the crocheting. What are they making?
Well, they're making scarves, they're making beanies, they're making dresses, bags, and every apparel. Every now and then, people surprise us with things that are off of our program, and then we are forced to make those different apparels.
So when basically you're giving them a life skill. So now they
Yeah,
have a way to generate income
yeah,
by learning the skill that you're showing them and teaching. How long are
yeah.
these young women in the program?
Usually they spend three months. That is the ideal. 3 months is enough for them to learn the basic skills. And then if they want to progress, then we can progress with them on a different program. But the most important thing is for them to learn leadership, for them to learn, we do spiritual nourishment. We really want to empower them, not only with the crocheting, but to be able to move out there and sell these products and eventually just have a good life for them, because just learning a skill and not doing anything with it is something that is not right, and we surely look forward to changing so many lives in that aspect.
When these young women come to the program, you mentioned to me, tell us the story. What's it like when they first get there?
When most of them come, they're not even sure of what they want, and you have to let them know what life is all about, given the experience that you have gone through. And most of the times it is me that is with them.
Mhm.
They do not know anything. You ask them, so Prudence, what do you want with your life? And she's blue, she's green, she doesn't know. But I love the fact that going forward, you see, with the fact that they have been out of school for quite some time, they do not have the self-esteem, they don't have the confidence to speak in public. So usually most of them are very timid, most of them, they're actually fearful to approach you. But
Mm-hmm.
then moving along, there's one particular girl that I always want to talk about. When she first came, she couldn't even speak on her own. It is her auntie that brought her,
Mm-hmm.
and she couldn't express herself. She couldn't even tell me her name, and it is the guardian who was now speaking for her. And that gave me a signal, and I realized this is the kind of girl that I want to talk to, because the fact that many of them are timid, they have a low self-esteem, she cannot face you, she's facing down, that touches my heart. And I'm like, I want this girl to get up, because at some point I was also very low, my esteem was really really low, and I know it cost me a lot. And looking at this girl, I saw her mirror me then, and I'm like, I want to change this girl's life. And right now, a few weeks into her learning with the other girls, it was just amazing to see her smile. It was really so amazing to see her smile. And then one day, through, of course, I think it must have been like 3 weeks into the program, she comes smiling and confident. Her face is beaming with so much joy. And then I couldn't believe that this is the girl that I saw at first, who could not even look me up straight in the eye. And then she brings out this very beautiful red scarf. I was so excited, and I had to give her, this warm embrace. Poor girl didn't even know what to do with a hug.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think that no one had had that in a very, very long time. So moving forward, right now, when I ask them, so Prudence, of course, Prudence that we talked about, Prudence, what do you want to do with your life? Prudence is now telling me, I want to learn the skill and be able to set up a shop for myself. And for me, even if that might be, I love the fact that they are really dreaming so big. Yeah,
Yes.
and that alone, it makes me feel so much fulfillment. And even if it is like just one life that has been changed, I'm like, God, I thank you for this girl. So basically, that is how they come in. Sometimes it's their guardian that bring them. Sometimes they hear from a friend of a friend, and the great need that they have to learn a skill, and the fact that they have been going through a lot. Imagine you have dropped out of school, there is no chance of you going back to school, and no one is, there's no chance really, depending, looking at the kind of family that you come from. But them now being able to achieve this particular skill that is
Mm-hmm.
free of charge, it is a great joy for them and also for me. Yeah, sure.
They you give them hope.
Sure.
Is that
It
right?
is my desire. It is my desire that they get the hope.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, when you well, did they live with you in the program for those 3 weeks, or do they go home?
No, they do go home. Actually, given that I work full time at the orphanage, I usually spare three time. I mean, I spare three weekdays, but the afternoons, because I want them to be productive wherever they are as they come to learn. Because it is not okay. It is pointless for me to have them, and it is quite. I don't think it would be productive. I don't think it would be. So they do come every weekday. We spend about 3 hours or 4 hours
Hmm.
in those 3 weekly days. Yeah, that is the much that I stay with them. The
Wow.
other parts, the other days of the week is for them to go finish up their homework and then
Yeah,
come and show me what they've learned. Yeah.
what they've done. It's
Yes, sure.
outstanding. Now, you told me the program is free. So how is it
Yeah.
funded? How is this program funded?
Um, That's a difficult question. Okay, it looks simple, but it's actually difficult because most of the time, how I started and how I'm moving forward is I could pick from my meager income, because it is a burden on my heart to see other girls uplift. Yeah, I pick from my meager income, and then I teach them. And of course, the fact that this is it's a regenerating initiative, you find that as you put in, it brings back. Yeah,
Right.
so when a girl makes a very beautiful scarf or a very beautiful dress, then someone buys it, and then that is how But the good thing though, I think with all this that I've been doing, my employer kind of noticed and they loved the work that I was doing. And we are getting a little percentage from my employer to, to run this. And that for me is, it's a beautiful thing. I have no particular words to mention how I feel about it, but I love that they have seen the good that is in this work. But yeah, that's basically how we get our funding.
Nice. Incredible.
Yeah,
Now you talked about education and
yeah,
you explained to me last time we spoke the
yeah.
challenges. It's a very different model. Tell the viewers around the world what the difference is.
Well, I have had in very many countries, there are usually so many grants. There are so many ways people get free education. In
Right.
Uganda, it is quite difficult. Education in Uganda is very expensive. It was expensive then, but now it is more expensive. And it takes a very long period of time. That is 19 to 25 years, depending on what course really you are taking
Wow.
on. It's a very long
Mhm.
time and very expensive. There are few handouts and there are few student loans. I've not heard of a student loan in my country. I know they are there, but really, by virtue of me not hearing about them, it means there are not as many.
Right.
And that means every parent that wants to educate their child should pick it from the pocket. And with Uganda is more of an agricultural, and not many are into the commercial agriculture. So it really becomes very hard for most parents to pick from the pocket. And yet, it is still very sad that very many parents do not believe in vocational school for their children. Every parent wants their child to go through primary, secondary, and then university. And sometimes it becomes very hard for them to get that job. Even when they graduate from education, I mean, from their university, you find that they're jobless. And now the parents saying, I invested in you, I put in all the money, I sold all the land, I sold all the cows to educate you, and you're back home with nothing. So that is the challenge of education that we have. And also, in Uganda, we have a presidential initiative that is a universal
Hmm.
education for all, like free education for all, but it doesn't come free. It comes at a cost, because right now we have children, pupils and students dropping out of universal primary school and universal secondary school, because there are those small fees that come along, which parents are not able to pay. So it's really, yeah, I don't want to use the word, but it's devastating. It is
Yes.
really. And also, for very many organizations, especially now for the orphanage, yes, I refer to it because that's where I work. For the orphanage, we have educated quite a number of children. And sometimes we find that midway, some of them have sponsors attached to them from different countries. But you find that midway into their education, a sponsor drops out because, I mean, 19 years, 19, 21 years, not very many people are willing to do that. Not many.
Right.
So you find that a certain Prudence has been educated up to senior four, and now they're not able to cross over. Someone else has to take on, and yet it's very difficult. Not many sponsors are willing to take on a 16, 17, or 18-year-old. So it becomes very hard that many are dropping out because the education it's very long and really expensive.
There's a gap. So the
Yeah.
primary school is like kindergarten through eighth grade. Is that about right?
Mm, yeah, sure.
And then secondary is what we would consider high
Secondary,
school.
I think it's high school.
Hmm.
Yeah, then the
And
college and university.
and
Yeah,
and then the professional skill.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, sure.
I know a lot of people here complain about the cost of education, which is high everywhere. But here
Yeah,
we can get loans, we can get grants, we can get
yeah.
scholarships. You don't have that.
No, 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 no.
Wow.
But I think now that you see, it's a global world we are living in. Every country gets to copy from and borrow ideas from the other. It's being
Right.
incorporated in, but then it is something that is very hard for many to cope with. Apparently,
Right.
yeah.
We hear a
Yeah.
lot of the similar things about trade schools,
Hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with having a trade. In fact, the middle class in the United States when I
Hmm.
was growing up was built by people who worked in the trades. And then we
Yeah.
got in our minds, oh no, you have to go to college, you have to get a degree. And
Hmm.
for a while, they're coming out of school, they had all these loans, and there were no jobs.
Yeah.
And so there's a big push now for trade schools to have that additional skill. And it's a mindset change, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
sometimes you
sure.
think, I'm less because I didn't go to a university. Do you hear that a
Sure.
lot?
Yeah, we do hear that a lot, and I can really attest to this because every holiday, school holiday, we do have a seminar for our students, the ones that we do sponsor in the orphanage. And it's always very hard to explain to those that are in senior four and at a risk of dropping out because a sponsor is pulling away. It is very hard to explain to them, you know what, Prudence, this is hard enough. You're going to have your 2 years in vocational, and by the time you leave out there, you are employable. They
Right.
cannot understand, they don't understand that. And it is also sad that even the guardians that are not able to pay, they think it's some kind of betrayal for their children to not,
Hmm.
grade. It's very hard. Recently, we had a partnership with some colleague of ours to come and train them the beauty of vocational schools, and it still didn't sit in their heads.
I know
Yeah, but
it's,
yeah, but looking at everything else that is happening, I think and I feel that we need to advocate more for the vocational school. We need to change attitudes and mindsets of people because I see it as a very beautiful venture, really.
yes, it is. It is. We hear a lot of, my family came from Sicily and Italy to the United States a long time
Yeah.
ago. And one of their mindset was, well, maybe my life, my grandparents, won't be much better than it was in Sicily, but my grandchildren and my children
Mm.
will be better. And they did work in the trades, and there was a path for that. You worked on the railroad, or you worked in steel, or you worked in like, as a carpenter, or you worked in whatever it is you worked on. What we found is that's a tremendous skill, and as you see growth starts to occur, those are
Yeah.
the people those are the first people you need.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that means we need to do a lot of, attitude and mindset change because we surely need this. We need this.
Now I'm assuming that you don't have like labor unions, like the
Sorry?
team. I'm assuming you don't have labor unions like the Teamsters here or the United Auto Workers, who sometimes have programs to help people get into the trades.
No, we don't have many of those here.
Wow, I didn't think so. That's amazing. So what's the
It
most
is.
rewarding, what's the most rewarding thing that has happened to you in this environment?
Wow. The most rewarding thing is just to look at one of the girls, two, three, five of them just come to me and they're beaming with a smile and they're telling me, Prudence, I want to do this for my life. And it is in the line of what I started. And I don't give credit for having started it. It has been a burden on my heart for a very long time. And I think I might have been running away from God's calling because I think midway some year I was running away because I felt I needed a better job. I needed a better, life of living, only to get so much trouble that brought me back to where I was. And I remember at one particular point, one particular night, it was a very, it wasn't a very nice experience really. But it's a long story which I don't want to go into. But it was a sad. It was. I've always heard people talk about rock bottom. I never knew what rock bottom
Hmm.
was until then. And when every day comes, you're living at the edge. It felt like this was the end of everything for me. I remember contemplating. So what if I died tonight? You see, we have so many different analogies of what happens to us when we die. We have
Yes.
so many different ones, and I don't know which one now to believe. I know I'm a believer, and I believe in life after death, I mean, meeting God. But at this particular point, I had to believe the other analogy that says, when you die, you can still know what is happening in the present. And I said, okay, if I died today, I'm going to live a very sad eternity for not having accomplished what God has put in my heart, because I thought there must be the right time for this to happen. So I had to beat myself up, even in that hard time, to say no. At least, even if I can change one life to do what God put on my heart, I'm going to do that. No matter what it takes, I'm going to do that. And that rock bottom is what made me be able now to realize that I am living the purpose for which God created me. And
Hmm.
sometimes you say, I haven't reached there yet, but I love the fact that I am on the right path. And I know
Right.
this sure is the right path. And it doesn't matter. There's so much pain in the offering, but you're like, this is the message. This is my purpose. This is what I have to do. I need to change a life. So for me, that is the most fulfilling thing. Looking at a girl come to me, a teen mom, an underprivileged woman, come to me and say, Prudence, I love that you have done this for me. That is quite fulfilling. And I am ready. Even if I died tomorrow, I'm like, God, I did this because, yeah, this is what you put on my heart. Yeah, so I am happy.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It, it's so rewarding
yeah,
when you help somebody up. Over here it's not a handout, it's a handout. I'm
yeah, sure.
giving you something to help you have a better life, or at least put you on a different path.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it's a lot of these young moms are now have that ability. That's outstanding. Well, Prudence, we're just about out of time for this episode. What last thoughts do you want to leave with the world?
Well, I love First Corinthians chapter 13 for the Christians, and for those that are not Christian, for the first time, you're going to have to shake it up. First
Mhm.
Corinthians chapter 13 talks about love, and I love how it starts, and of course, all through. Even if you spoke the language of the angels, even if you are the best prophetess, even if it doesn't matter what you do, if there is not love, if
Right.
there is no love, it is all for nothing. And you see, love is dimensional. Animals respond to love, people respond to love, plants respond to love. And if only we can love each other. You see, the Bible talks about love your neighbor as you love yourself. That means it also actually has to come from you. Do you love yourself enough? Because the more you love yourself, you're going to fill up your cup and you're going to be able to pour out into the other. So, in as much as we are having a directive to, go show love to our neighbor, let us see that we fill our cup so that, it runs over to the others. Let's continuously fill up our cups so that we can be able to pour into others. And also, another thing, let's know our purpose. If you do not know your purpose, no matter what you're doing, no matter how much lump sum of money, how much assets you acquire, if you have not understood that this is my purpose, you're never going to be happy. That is my message. That is my message. And if you can help one, if you can reach one person, don't wait for the greatest time to do something. With the little that you have, start. Yes.
Exactly. That's a
Yeah.
wonderful message because there's never going to be the perfect time. There's never a perfect time.
Never.
So
Yeah, sure.
just start. Well,
Yes.
Prudence, how do people get a hold of you if they want to know more about the program or if they're looking to donate to the program?
Well, across all social media, I use the name Prudence Uyungrwoth, my name. Apart from, I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on all the other social media. I also created Instagram for I am great and capable. So it is I underscore underscore great underscore and underscore capable. Um, and also, I do have a website. It is still under construction, also in my name, prudenceuyungrowth.org.
Okay, I will make sure I put that when this goes public so people can reach out to you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a young woman that you do need to meet and know. We connected on LinkedIn. That's how she and I connected. and she will respond very quickly. Now, as I said, we're just about out of time. I want to thank Prudence again for sharing this true messenger of hope story and the impact that she's having on all these young women and these children in Uganda. This is what hope is all about. It's raising somebody else up. Now you can see this podcast, see this show on my podcast on Parade Deck on my YouTube channel, which is also called Frank Zakari. I will send links to Prudence and she'll post them wherever she posts stuff in her world. If you use my YouTube channel, please subscribe. Now, let me leave you with this as we do every week. None of us are in this alone. And the secret to walking on water is to know where the rocks are. And today, Prudence showed us where many of those rocks are. Join us again next week, and we'll get into another life-altering event. Prudence, again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.